Welcome. My name is Jacqueline Prince, and we are here transmitting the Awakening podcast series to our Sunday morning audience. Thank you for joining us. Now, we're going to kind of take a very quick or different leap here as we are just actually introducing the Awakening podcast series to Ursula. We had done several interviews that we would be airing as our introduction videos to the Awakening podcast series. But with the current situation or condition, the coronavirus global condition, we're going to change things up here a lot and actually make this particular broadcast our introduction broadcast. I know this is going to be a lot of information for those of you who are just awakening. Those of you who have a background, maybe this won't be difficult information, although I do believe that we are in a real time of quickening. And so I think that the vibrational frequencies that we're going to be transmitting will be received by you the way that they're supposed to. So today we have with us again, this is my second time interviewing Jay, and I'm really excited about the awareness, the higher vibrational frequencies that Jay vibrates with. So I have actually invited him back on as our first interview for our series. So Jay is a metaphysicist, an author, a spiritual coach, an NLP practitioner. He is the creator of an online course called The Soul's Dream. He also has published several books, The Soul's Dream, which is, the two books, I Am Understanding Who and What You Are, which is volume 1, and don't see book number 2. However, we today are going to open this series up with a discussion on cosmic forces or cosmic frequencies versus 5G frequencies. So we are in a very real and present time of transformation. It could be deemed by many as dangerous times, or as many are experiencing transformative, positive times. We are clearly becoming aware that there are two worlds or two parallel realities taking place right in front of our eyes. Currently, there is a new surge of information in regards to 5G, which is the 5th generation of electromagnetic radiation of the 60 gigahertz radiation, and its correlation to the coronavirus we're going to be talking about today. So we thought that with this transmission on cosmic energies, that it would help you understand the shift taking place as the old world system does in fact begin falling down around us, that we have a pathway so that we do not get trapped into the fear pandemic that is taking over much of the population. So Jay, could you tell us, I know there's a lot of information here, and I know that we could open up this conversation in by my asking you what the matrix is, but as we're talking about the different realities where energy patterns or energy frequencies create reality, could you talk to us about the difference between 5G and cosmic energies?
Yeah, sure. So the interesting thing about the 5G is that there's many components to it that really affect the human being. 5G in and of itself it's a very high frequency, but it has also to do with the GMOs that we've been ingesting for a long time, the fluoride that we've been taking into our bodies for a long time, and then the aluminum that's being put into the air. And it's this combination that's creating this havoc on the human system. along with our thoughts and our emotions. And when we have these thoughts and emotions of fear, we move into this state where things such as 5G can really attach inside of our bodies and really create havoc. So it's really about moving first our minds from the state of fear into the state of love and compassion. And for the cosmic rays coming in, they've been coming in for quite some time now. 2012 was the marker of the ascension process, where the old paradigm stopped. So when we look at our reality, we come into this reality and it's a 26,000 year process. So we come in at a very high level, an angelic realm, and then we come into this realm here. And we come into this realm so that we can master vibration. It's all about mastering vibration. Vibration is oscillation, it's polarity, right, wrong, good, bad, male, female. So we want to come in here and experience everything that we can experience that has to do with polarity. But beings that we come in at a very high state, we have to descend in consciousness so that we can forget who we are and really have the full-on experience as being disconnected from our source. And that takes about 12,500 years for that to happen. And then you move into, that's the descension process. And we move into a thing called the ascension process, where we start remembering who we are. And as we remember who we are, we start to remember our past lives and our past experiences, and we can pull from those experiences to make the ascension process that much greater. So the cosmic shift that's taking place when I'm talking about a 26,000 year process, or the great year, the precession of the equinox, really comes from the star's position. When the constellations move, they move into different positions that we call ages. And we're moving into the age of Aquarius. And so the age of Aquarius is going to bring in a new vibrational frequency of energy, of light and sound that's being projected from the stars into our realm, into our reality. That's going to shift the collective consciousness and shift each individual in their ideas and their perceptions. So last time we talked, I talked about light, photon light, and a salamander and an egg embryo. I think this is very important to understand how light can move DNA from one place to another just by photons itself. So there was a Russian scientist, Peter Garyaev, I believe his name was. And what he did is he had two hermetically sealed containers, one with an embryo of a frog, one with a salamander. And he shined a gamma ray laser through the embryo of the salamander and then moved that light into the frog. And when the frog was born, it was a salamander. And what's very unique about this is it shows that gamma rays them in and of themselves can change the DNA structure of a being. So when we look at the universe and the constellations, they're projecting energy, information into our realm, and there's gamma rays coming in. So when I say, we're moving into the age of Aquarius and the collective consciousness is going to shift, it's all being done by light and sound frequencies that are shifting our bodies into being able to receive higher frequencies, and our thoughts to be able to receive higher intelligences. And it's all being done by the stars and the galactic center's light being projected into our reality, and that's how it's shifting. But what's also happening too right now is, like I said, we're just coming out of the descension process. And it took roughly 13,000 years to descend, and there were programs put in place, things such as the Illuminati, to help assist the consciousness of mankind to descend in consciousness. There was the calcification of the pineal gland so that we couldn't see into higher realities. There was bringing the 12-stranded DNA being, which what we are, down to a 2-stranded DNA being. And what strands of DNA are their antenna. Their antenna to receive the higher vibrational frequencies that are all around us. So when we move from a 12-strand and turn 10 of those strands off, we basically became very limited to our ability to see outside of the visible light spectrum, which is a very narrow band in the electromagnetic spectrum, which is what we're in. So what's happening is these old programs, these old paradigms don't want to give up power. They've been in power for so long. So they're going to try and do whatever they can do to keep doing what they do best, and that's bring the collective consciousness down. So what we're seeing now is these attempts of the 5G hertz being projected into our reality to help subdue the awakening of mankind. So when you see these planes flying over and doing chemtrails, that was all part of the process to help them stay in control. So they're blocking out the cosmic rays that are coming in, and then they're also bringing in aluminum into our system, which is being amplified by this 5G frequency.
And that aluminum,
So,
which is a particular charge,
mhm,
allows the impulsing of these vibrations to continue to attach, not just um, in a consciousness structure, but biologically, we're seeing it
yeah,
attaching biologically. So our cells now are actually listening and receiving this massive lie that is taking place, causing fear. And so, correct?
yeah. And what I would like to say is really it's doing its job, because what happens now is we are shifting. Like you were saying before, there's two parallel realities kind of happening right side by side of each other. There's a one of love, there's a one of fear. And that's been the whole process of the awakening. Really, we're moving from a state of fear into a state of love. So what's happening now is it's up to each individual to move their consciousness, their awareness, their thoughts, and hold them into a state of love and compassion. Even though things are going on all around us that aren't of love and compassion, we internally have to emit the love and compassion to become a resonant and match vibration to the other parallel reality that we are now attuning to. So when you look at resonance, when you resonate with something, you become a match vibration to that experience or that thing that you're resonating with. That timeline, that parallel reality, has a vibrational frequency, and in order for you to match that vibrational frequency, you have to start with your thoughts, and you have to start with where you're putting your attention. Because once you start guiding your attention and your intentions and holding to the highest aspect of any situation, no matter what it is, just holding that to the highest you can with love, you then become a match vibration to that. So I look at the Illuminati and what has been done as part of the process. I don't look at them as bad or good or whatever. I look at them as part of the process to bring us where we need it to be. And I see what's happening now is that holding on, kind of keeping us down. It's They keep doing whatever you got to do. It's up to you individually to make this shift,
Well,
because
and
we can overcome the 5G.
it's kind of the pressure that shatters that outer shell. So as you continue to the old saying, where you place your attention is where reality is. So we are
Yeah.
being presented with two extremely opposing realities in a way that has never been so in your face.
Yeah.
So we are really able now to clearly see the one side, which is extreme fear, um, feeling like a slave, feeling like you have no power, that someone else has power over you, and that being the victim and being helpless. That's one that's one side of the coin. That's one reality. That's one timeline and one space vector. The parallel reality now that we're being, I won't say forced into, but through love is being revealed for us to choose, um, is a new timeline and a new
Mhm.
space vector, and that is, like you said, choosing which reality you have your thought placed in at any given moment. Okay, so we're going to take a break. This is a very large project, a very large conversation, but we'll return and continue with this two parallel reality conversation in just a moment. Thank you. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention as we are in the ascension on a global scale. Humanity, humans, even our biology, not only consciously, but our biology is shifting as we see havoc being wreaked upon the cellular structure of our bodies. But we want to make clear the two parallel realities taking place simultaneously right now. The revealing taking a place, the revealing that is showing very clearly the dark agenda. I don't know that there's many humans that are not able to actually recognize this fear-based agenda versus causing us to choose to enter into a new placement of attention, a new reality that vibrates only in love, peace, and harmony. You know, I was raised in a I don't want to say religious home, but you know, I was raised with scripture, and Philippians talks about you know, think only on these things. It gives us kind of a mandate as these end of days come, things that are lovely, things that are of good report, things that are noble, pure, and those are, you know, how you can tell which reality you're actually operating in any given moment. To watch your thinking, and what are you thinking right now? And that is the kind of paying attention that this particular world situation is calling to each individual. You want to speak about that choice a little bit, and what the love vibration actually represents? It's no longer just a beautiful word on a page that we all, you know, poetically write about, but it's a real vibration, a real frequency that resides within our hearts that gives us access to this new parallel reality.
Yeah. I mean, love really is the key to understanding right now. And like I was saying before about the descension process, what we descended from, what we have forgotten, is our connection to source. And what I've been sharing lately is it's right now is a good time to go in. I mean, a lot of people are home, they're in their houses, they're kind of, you know, really stuck, really. But now it's a beautiful time to take the time to go inside of yourself. Because once you go in, what are you doing? You're accessing your source. And what is source, right? Some people call it God, some people call it Buddha, some people call it Krishna, some people call it Allah, some people call it so many different names, prime creator. Now is the time, more than ever, for you to reconnect with your source. For instance, how many times a day do you meditate? How many times a day do you pray? So meditation and prayer are really the same thing. They're one and the same. So it's really about you taking back the reins and taking control of your life. It's not about what someone else did or what someone else is doing. What are you doing? What are you doing today? What is your connection to your higher self? What is your connection to God? What is your power? How much power are you giving into the Supreme Creator? How much thought a day do you give into the Supreme Creator? And how much gratitude do you give for your life, your breathing, your existence, right? So it's really about moving back and tapping into source. And once you tap into source, that is the love that we're speaking about. It's not the love that we have for each other is a fraction of that love. The unconditional love that you will have for all beings, not just selective, but all beings, is when you tap into source and you understand that source is all that is. Anything that moves because the spirit of source, of prime creator, moves through it. And you are that prime creator. You are prime creator in creation. You are God in creation. So when you look at, some people still think that they're very powerful. You are extremely powerful. You are so powerful, and your power comes from your attention and your intentions, and where you direct your heart, your emotions, and where you direct your thoughts. That is your power. And when you start focusing on creating and experiencing, expansion of your existence rather than your job, right? Who was that? Jim Rohn would say, work harder on yourself and you become a billionaire. Work hard at your job and you'll make a living, right? So it's all about you really working on yourself right now, because you want to become this match vibration to this new parallel timeline that is here right now. It's always been here, but we weren't awake to it. We weren't aware of it. We didn't have the consciousness to understand what it was. And now we're starting to understand more and more day by day that it's up to us individually to really start focusing on where we resonate, what we're vibrating at. It's your
You,
power, it's your choice.
I want to really drill down as we talk about this particular time being a very individual time. Um, I'm as I'm really kind of shutting out the the news, um, the conversations surrounding the lack, the limit, the fear,
Mm-hmm.
and I really um, realized this individual state of beingness. And the question is, how much time are you looking outside versus, and I ask myself that, and every day now I'm being drawn to, where am I looking? Where am I looking? What report am I listening to? And as I see myself looking outside and listening to this external report, I look inside then and I see where this fear actually takes up residence in my heart. And I'm able to kind of thread that back and say, well, the reason I've got this fear about, am I going to have enough money to get through this time? We're talking maybe 2-3 more months. Do I have enough supply? As I see the grocery store shelves are starting to kind of, you know, uh, become more scarce with supply, and I realize that my thinking about those external things are what is actually causing the fear inside. The moment that I come back in and I center and I have my place my attention um, towards source, the all potential, um, unlimited supply, always present, I I shift in from that old world reality, and I can begin to see how this new parallel reality um, is taking up its dominance in my mind. So this parallel reality, this parallel timeline that's going on right now, can you drill down a little more on the energetic structure, the higher vibrations, and I really want to help our audience really become very aware that we are energy. Reality is based on energy, and how that love energy again really does keep us in the shift and entering into the new kingdom reality.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So really, I really want to hone in on the individual, each individual right now, and playing your role and your part in this whole thing. When you're
Yes.
watching something on the TV, when you're watching something and you have an emotion, Emotions can range from love to fear and then everything in between. And you're having a reaction to that experience that's going on TV. If it's causing you any ounce of fear, you need to either turn it off or go with inside of yourself and figure out where that fear is within inside of you. Because if you continuously stay in a state of fear continuously, we talked about this last time on the show as well, you shut down your cells. You are made up of 50 trillion cells. Your human body is made up of 50 trillion cells, and each cell has its own individualized consciousness. It has an excretory, a respiratory, it's its own little being. And there's 50 trillion cells inside you that make up your human body. And your cells can't see the outside world. They have no idea what's going on in the outside world. What they know is what comes through your five senses. And then that creates the chemical and energetic reactions inside of you. So if you're watching something and it's creating fear, all of your cells move into a state called fight or flight. When they move into fight or flight, they all move into a state of protection. When they move into a state of protection, they cannot grow, which means if you're always continuously in a state of fight or flight, you're perpetuating protection, which is perpetuating dis-ease inside of your body because the cells can't repair themselves. You want to keep yourself at homeostasis where your cells are happy and they're growing. And how you do that is to hold your attention on the vibrations of love and compassion and growth and creativity. So it's up to you individually right now. What you can do is if you're watching something and it's creating fear inside of you, turn it off. It's not helping you and you're not helping yourself by watching that. Start focusing on the things that bring you joy. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a pet, maybe it's a project. Start really focusing in on what it is that you love and what you really enjoy. And then you're going to become the match vibration to this other timeline, this other parallel timeline that's right next to us. It's happening here. Just like the radio station, if we talk about, some people might not understand what timelines are and different frequencies, but a very simple analogy to understand is just like your car tuner, your radio in your car, it's a tuner. And there are many different radio stations all around you that are here right now. They're all broadcasting here and now. And when you tune the tuner of the radio to a specific frequency, maybe it's 103.3 or 98.1, it picks up that vibrational frequency sequence to give you the data, which is the information through auditory, through the voices and the songs. But you're becoming, that tuner is becoming a match vibration to the frequency that already exists. So your body is a big tuner, just like the radio. It's a big tuner that tunes into these higher and lower vibrational frequencies that are all around us. So these parallel timelines and parallel realities are all here. But in order to tune to a higher vibrational frequency, you have to tune it with your body, which means you have to be at a certain resonance to become a match vibration to be able to hear and see inside of that reality.
So
it's interesting.
I know that I really keep drilling down because this is really the message of the time. This this choice, word tells us that I give you the choice between death and life, between blessing and curse. No longer is there a savior out there. The savior is in here, and I'm the one that chooses which reality I'm going to tune into. And so again, as Jay said, that every moment now, especially as we are in an ascension period, every moment is that choice. And that choice lines you up energetically with the new reality. So if you have a vibrational match of love, peace, harmony, unlimited supply, connected to source, realizing that you are supported, assisted, and that well-being is on the other side of that veil, then you're going to energetically match up with this new timeline and this new space vector where New Earth resides. Okay, believe it or not, we're at the end of our second segment. We're going to take a short break and we will return. Thank you. Oh, welcome back. Sunday morning viewers, the Awakening podcast series talking about uh, cosmic energies and entering into the new timeline, the new Earth reality versus 5G, 60 gigahertz electromagnetic radiation that is blanketing our planet and disrupting cells at a very real biology level. Just enforcing or continuing to give us a an image of reality based in fear. It's locking many individuals into um, a paradigm of fear, and that's very sad. But what we're trying to explain here today is that there is a very real way that you can take mastery of your own reality, and you can choose to raise your vibration, whereby the radiation of these high frequencies that disrupt cells and cause dis-ease. There's a way to transcend this this reality and actually participate through individual choice, crossing over into new reality. Jay, I'm going to just let you continue talking about this higher
Yeah,
vibration, which we're calling cosmic energy, cosmic force, versus
yeah,
this old pattern that is trying to keep many of us under control and still
yeah,
enslaved.
yeah. Well, I want to. Yeah, that idea of the enslavement is really breaking down very, very quickly. There are a lot of things that are happening now globally that are really breaking down the old paradigm. It's going to happen extremely fast. And it's a beautiful thing that's happening. Something really magnificent is blossoming behind the scenes that most people aren't aware of. And it is this new energy that's coming in. But there was a book I shared with you, Jacqueline, called Visions by Ken Carey. And it came out in 1992. And Ken was in his home in the woods, and he got this vision. And he just started writing down this vision. And it was his communication with the creator, and the book is phenomenal. I found out about the book in 1997, and I have honestly listened to this book about 1,000 times, and I have listened to it every year since 1997 because the predictions in it are so spot on, and the message is so uplifting. It's incredible. It really is. So um, I have it on my YouTube channel at Jay Layton if anyone wants to listen to it. But I just want to share one verse inside that book that's really, really imperative to understand. And with the understanding of cell biology, that your cells get their information from your thoughts. Your brain, your thoughts is the government of the 50 trillion cells.
I love
So
that. Say that again
yeah,
for us.
so your mind is the government that controls your 50 trillion cells. It's all your thoughts. Your thoughts control your inner reality. So in the book there's a quote. It says, "Disease is not caused by germs, toxins, viruses, excessive radioactive microbes, bacteria, or any physical agent. Such things are ever present, and thousands of them pass daily through every healthy human body. Such agents are only destructive when they do not pass through the human body, but are retained instead. There is only one reason why germs or toxins or radioactive energy can be retained in the human system, because present within the human system, there is an evil spirit." And then he goes into saying what evil spirits are. Evil spirits are negative attitudes, destructive emotions rooted in fear. Some of the more common evil spirits are resentment, anger, shame, guilt, anxiety, hatred, greed, revenge, and jealousy, all thinly disguised forms of fear They're present in the human system, giving harmful physical agents something to attach themselves to. So you see how this really puts all this energy right back in your lap? We're talking about evil spirits. It's not the Christian evil spirit of the devil, of this demon. No, it's your vibrational frequency. Are you holding on to resentment, anger, shame, guilt, anxiety? When you watch the news, are you anxious? Do you feel hatred or greed? Or do you feel the need for revenge and jealousy? Are these things that are present inside of us? Yes, it is. These are all things that are present inside of each and every one of us. So what can we do to get ourselves back to healthy homeostasis body, right? Number one thing, watch your thoughts. When you have a thought that's rooted in fear, you have to say, no, I'm not going there. You have to take charge. You have to take control and say, I'm not going there. If you're having thoughts of anger, of shame, what can you do? You can breathe, go into a nice meditative state. When you're feeling anxious, shut down the outside world, take a nice deep breath in, right? If you feel like we need to get revenge on these people who've done all these bad things, it doesn't matter what they did. Thou shalt not judge, right? That's one of the statements in the Bible. And the reason is because when you judge, you're allowing this harmful energy inside of you and you're retaining it within inside of your being. They will be dealt with their own energy, their own connection to source. They will be dealt with. Believe me, you cannot run from this. What you put out, you get back. And that's the law. That is absolutely the law. So it's not up for us to sit here judging everybody else's experience. We have to stop the judgments and really hold the highest frequencies and the highest vibration of love and compassion that we can. And it's a growing process. I'm not saying you can do this overnight. We're all programmed from the time we're very little, and really from the age of 2 to 7 is where we get all of our programs that run in the background for the rest of our lives. And they're not easy to change. The subconscious mind is not easy to change. It likes the way that things are. It does not like change. Our conscious mind, like, oh, I want to change tomorrow. And then we start doing an exercise routine. All of a sudden, it's kind of like a week goes by and we're like, I'll do it tomorrow. And that's because the subconscious mind goes, I want back to routine. I want to get back to where we were. I don't want to change. And so when we move into these ideas of watching our thoughts and watching ourselves being rooted in fear and having these revenge thoughts and having hatred or anxiety or guilt inside of us, it's not going to happen overnight. We can just stop it. What we got to do now, though, is say stop in our heads. When it comes in, say stop. When it's on the TV and it's causing anxiety and fear inside of you, turn it off. You are in control of the clicker. The channel changer is you have the power to push the button to turn it off and then go focus your energy somewhere else. Because the more we give our energy to fear, we're shutting down our biology inside of us. We know that. I mean, it's scientific. We shut down our biology inside of us, which allows our cells and our immune system to be suppressed. We don't want to do that to ourselves any longer.
And so this, I keep calling this kind of the time of revealing, where the external reality is so in our face that it's just causing me every moment to look inside. The word tells us, hold every thought captive. I am the master when I watch my thinking. I think a lot of humans believe that just because they think, they believe that those thoughts are real. Thoughts are floating through our atmosphere all over, everywhere. If you understand that thoughts ride on the waves of energy frequencies, so we just pick up on a wide variety of thoughts. Our mastery is in choosing what thoughts, like you said, if I allow a negative thought to come in and I attach to it as my reality, that is where I break down. And like you said, allowing that reality, which is an illusion, it's a lie, letting that reality flow through. So this whole 5G conversation is about, they're saying the deep state or the dark cabal
Hmm.
maintaining control over humans and keeping us enslaved. That may be, but I don't have to attach to that reality. In fact,
Yeah.
my reality is a completely different reality than that reality. And so that's where two parallel realities can be going on at the same time. One individual is choosing to attach to a fear reality, and an individual right next door sees this beautiful, magnificent time of rising into a very real world that is energetically structured with love. It's a beautiful time.
Yeah.
And correct,
Uh,
Jay?
Yeah, we really are in an amazing time in history to be alive, because what we're finding is that we have choice. The choice really resides in us. So yeah, we're at a beautiful time right now, and yeah, that's great.
So this is just almost amazing. I mean, we've just gone through another segment. We've only got one more to go. My heavens, this is a beautiful conversation. I don't want it to end talking about the difference between 5G, 60 gigahertz radiation that's breaking our cells down versus cosmic energies and how to tap into those. Thank you, and we'll return in just a moment. Namaste. Okay, thank you. We're back. Thank you, audience, for staying with us. We are here for you. We are here with you. I know this is a very difficult time, and a lot of information, not just information, but a lot of emotional energies flowing through the planet right now. We want to make it very clear and evident the assistance that humanity has right now in making this shift as the old world system is falling down around us. How can we, as an individual, how can you as an individual tap into that assistance to make the crossing, to move from a reality of fear and scarcity and the feeling of being victimized during this particular global condition that all humans are facing together. We want to provide support as much as we can. So, Jay, I know that you've got a mission that you are really being activated into and
Hmm.
stepping into. So, would you like to explain kind of what you do to help in this process of not only awakening, but
Yeah.
the crossing over into a new reality, which is called the ascension?
Right, right. Definitely. Before I go there, I just want to say this. Where I live, I live in Hazlet, New Jersey. I live within 2 miles of four 5G towers. I mean, there's one less than 300 feet that way. There's one about a quarter mile down. There's one about a half a mile down. And then if I go that way, there's one 2 miles down. So I'm in this space here where there's all these 5G towers. And I mean, everybody kind of feels something, and something is going on. But like I said, know the things that you can do to overcome that. And the best thing you can do is to guard your mind. The next thing to do would be cut out fluoride of your system and try to eat as organic as possible. Those are a great place to start with this whole 5G scare thing that's going on. Um, all right, so yeah, so what I'm doing now, what I do with my business, I'm a spiritual life coach, and I don't know why I went with the word spiritual, but my whole life has always been about understanding who and what we are, why we're here, where are we going. That's every day I wake up, I'm always like searching and researching, and I just love information. Um, and I love helping people. So I tied in the two together and called spiritual life coaching. And what I do is I assist people with overcoming diseases, mental issues. And it's so interesting. Most 99% of disease in the body or mental issues come from their past. It's an emotional block that's inside of them. So what I do is we have a session, we do a free consultation. I figure out all the things that's going on, what it is you want to achieve, and then we get together, we do a regression. And we regress you back to the time in this life that you picked up this habit or this disease or this thing that you're looking to either get rid of or overcome. And it's so wild to see like people's allergies, people's pains in their bodies all relate to these emotional ties that are inside of the body that we got when we were, I mean, you could have been in the womb of your mother and you could have picked up an emotional tie inside of that womb there. And then it could be expressed later on in your life. Marissa Pierce talks about this. She was working with a client and he was deathly afraid of drums. And his whole life, and he was in his 50s when he went to see Marissa. And it turns out when he was in the womb of his mother was being attacked by these two men with machetes, and she hid in the closet. And she was so scared, her heart was pounding out of her chest. And the
Oh
baby in
my.
the womb was then programmed with that vibrational frequency, with those sequence of chemicals, so that every time later on in life he heard these drums, it fired up those same neurons inside of his head, because neurons that fire together wire together. All these things started happening. He's deathly afraid of them. And then she went in and showed him how to get rid of it, and then he was over it. But the thing the reason why I brought that up is because we pick up these programs from when we're children, and here we are in our 30s and 40s, and we're like, why do I keep on picking the same person? Why can't I get rid of these pains? I'm taking all these medications. I'm doing the yoga. I'm doing all this stuff. Why can't I get rid of it? It's because you have an emotional block inside of you that's an old program that you need to release. And just like I was talking about from Visions before, when he was talking about all these things can run through the human body, but it's not unless there's something inside the human body that is a lower vibrational frequency that it can attach itself to. So when we have these emotional traumas when we're younger, they attach themselves to us. And the idea is to go in there and really clean out yourself once a year. It's kind of like a cleanse inside of yourself, right? And release all the emotions that are blocked up inside of you. But we don't do that. We don't release these emotions inside of us. We just kind of just shut them off and just keep going, put our head down, keep going. And then they manifest themselves in our bodies. So what I do is we do the regression, and then I do a meditation part where it's all about programming all the things you desire in your life. And then when I'm done, I give you a meditation. You do that meditation for 30 days and you'll see phenomenal results. But it's all about you going internal and doing the work yourself. So what I'm working on now is creating a thing called activation healing. I'm not a healer, but your body is a healer. My body's a healer. All bodies know how to heal themselves when they have the right intentions and thoughts inside of them. And the energies that are moving through us, the channels are clean. When the channels are clear, the energy can run freely. If there's emotional blocks, the channels can't run clearly, and that creates dis-ease in the body. So what we want to do is we want to be able to clear all these channels inside of ourselves. Most people have heard of the 7 chakra system, right? The 7 major chakras. These are energetic vortexes. They're like energy nodes inside of us. Our bodies are made up of electricity. Here's something that's very, very fascinating, right? If you look at the cells, right? Each cell is like 0.5 volts. So if you take 0.5 volts, or it's 0.005, whatever it is, but if you take all the 50 trillion cells in your body, it's like 300 and, no, it's 3 trillion volts, I think it is. So 3 trillion volts of electricity running through your body right now. A bolt of lightning is 1,000,000 volts. So think of 3 trillion volts of electricity running through your body right now. It's all this energy running through and around you that you can start to tap into to manifest your life, to really manifest more energy and more of everything. But you got to have your channels cleared. And that's where meditation really comes in. That's where prayer comes in. If you're afraid, don't let those energies go in there, because they create blocks inside of you and they manifest in physical ailments. So you really want to alleviate as much fear as you can in your life and really start focusing on the things that you really truly desire to have in your life. So I understand we're in a very difficult transitioning time right now. We are all awakening. I love the name of the show. It's The Awakening, right? We are all awakening. Each one of us are awakening. And there's these cosmic energies that are there helping us, these angelic realms, these angels, these ascended masters. They're all coming in to help us right now in this time as we start to break apart from the old paradigm. And so with that, I'm offering all my services for the next 2 months for donation based. So I work with a nonprofit called the Masters Octave. It's a great nonprofit, and so I'm working with them. And so all the work that I do, all the donations will go through the Masters Octave. So I really feel like now is the time for us really all to come together to really assist each other to help in this awakening process, because we need each other. We are a community-based entity. We love people. Well, most people love people. There's a couple of us out there that are like, I don't like anybody. But most people, on average, love to share. They love to help. They love to be together. So now it's time that we come together as a collective and make this happen.
So unfortunately, we are at the end of our awakening series. Humans, we want you to know that we love you. We want you to know that we see you. We want you to know that you are not alone, that there are resources. There are so many individuals that have done a lifetime worth of work to be here now to assist in your personal awakening process. We thank you for staying with us. And again, we are here to help you. If you have any questions, please get a hold of Ursula Media or us here at The Awakening. And please look Jay up on his website. Jay, did you give us your website?
No, it's
How to
Jay
access you?
Layton. Yep, jlayton.com is my spiritual coaching site. So that's JAYLAYTON.com. And then the mastersoctave.org is the nonprofit. And then thesoulsdream.com is the online course that I created.
Beautiful. Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you.